Hello and welcome to a look at Wild Wheels for the Amiga, a game that was made by Red Rat Software and released by Ocean. When it comes to football mixed with other types of stuff than normal football players, the most well known is likely Rocket League. But it is far from the first one, and I'm not going to claim that this game is, but this game would definitely be a very, very early variation of football with something else. Wild Wheels is essentially a football game where you play football using a car of some description. Your task is to start from the lowest league and work your way up through the toughest league and hopefully win it and become the biggest champion of all champions and all that good stuff, which is usually the case for games of this type. Initially, when you set the game up, you can choose your controls, which are either arcade or professional. Basically, arcade means that your car is steered in the direction you push your joystick, and in professional mode, you use up to accelerate, down to brake, and right and left to turn the car right and left. The fire button, of course, is used for sending the ball off. You also have three difficulty levels, and I only played on the lowest difficulty level because, yeah, I will come back to that later. So, the aim of the game is to score goals and score more points than your opponent and try to smack your opponent's vehicles and gain points for blowing them up. And basically, even though you can be in a position where you score 10 goals and your opponent score 25 goals, as long as you end up with a point score that qualifies you for the league you're currently in, you will stay in the league. Your league progression is not dictated by winning matches. It is entirely based on whether you have enough points after the different matches to afford the next type of vehicle, and that will define your progression to the leagues. You are gaining points by scoring goals, of course, which makes perfect sense. And as you will likely see, the goal has three colored zones, and depending on where within that zone you score the goal, you'll be given a certain amount of points. The closer to the goal you are, the better. But because the goals are very, very dangerous for the cars, if you send off the ball too late and can't stop, you will smack into the goal and lose your car. And that is basically what defines the length of the rounds. Both teams will have access to a certain amount of car replacements, and once those replacements are used, then the round is over. And then whatever bonus points you have earned for scoring goals and wrecking cars and all that kind of stuff will be tallied. Any repairs required will be subtracted, and that total will define how many points you have, and you can technically lose a match by the in the way of goals scored, but still be declared the winner. As long as you have enough points overall to stay in the same league, you are considered to have won the match, which is a bit odd. You can't be relegated from the lowest league, so you can just keep going at it until you win enough matches to win enough points to actually progress to the next league, which of course will introduce a new vehicle with new parameters such as speed, agility, armor, and that kind of stuff. And later on, as you get further and further into the different leagues, you will get access to more high-powered vehicles, which are armored, it's got weapons, and all sorts of funky things that's, of course, reserved for games of this type, which takes a traditional football game and mixes it up with something slightly or very different. The game does allow you to save the game when you progress to a new league, so in case you get absolutely demolished and your point total will drop quite dramatically, you will be able to restore a saved game from the league you currently reached. So in that regard, the game is fairly generous in letting you progress. Technical stuff. This is a pseudo 3D, half sprite based, half 3D based football game, as you can probably gather from the graphics. The cars are decently drawn, depending on which magazine you read or read the review for. This game was either fantastically spectacular or absolute garbage, and that applies to both graphics, sound, and gameplay. I think the graphics works, but I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of it. The sound design, the title music is fairly decent. The in-game sound effects are okay, but I do find the jingles to be borderlining atrocious. They get rather annoying to listen to after a short while, even though they are distinctively distinct, meaning of course that you get a certain jingle for when you score a goal and when the opponent score a goal, all that kind of stuff. When it comes to the controls, due to the nature that you are in control of a vehicle, which of course has a certain amount of momentum by nature, you can imagine as you go faster and faster, your steering becomes less accurate, and that is most likely by design, but it means that the car's control ends up feeling extremely floaty and not particularly pleasant. The gameplay, it's a five-a-side football, soccer, call it what you want, with cars. Unlike football, you have access to various pop squares that can pop up from time to time, and you will get a notification at the top of the screen when something shows up, and a certain colored square will appear on the playfield, and if you drive over it, you'll get whatever power pickup it may be. Faster acceleration, slowing down the enemy team, all that kind of stuff. But more importantly, you need a certain amount of points in order to qualify for the next league, and that is defined by the point cost for the next available car. But some of the cars require things that you can only get from playing the matches. They are pickups in the game itself, and that means that if RNG bowls you over, you can qualify for a league without being able to have the items that qualifies you for the vehicle, which is attached to that league, meaning that you end up playing the league with a severe disadvantage, which is not particularly good. Add to the fact that your teammates may as well not be there. Saying they are dumb as doormats would be an insult to doormats, and often they are more a hindrance than a benefit to you, and it all makes it a bit of a harsh experience. There's definitely some enjoyment to be had from this game, but it takes a certain strength of character that I don't personally think I possess. Yeah. On that note, thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye for now.